never forget the day when I was told I would not be able to talk or see my kids until whenever the courts or family services or another agency would see fit. As I sat in that courtroom, I just sat there in disbelief that I was completely blindsided. Going into that court case, I was told one thing, that I would be able to see my kids and that I would be able to have supervised visitation. And next thing you know, I'm being told that never was that said to me. And I had proof. I had text messages on my phone from certain people that were involved that I could have used, but I couldn't because they needed my phone and they would have kept it. And at the time I was in Vermont running a store, and I couldn't have that happen because I needed it to get back. I didn't know where I was going. You know, I have had so many situations in my life where I look back and I can close my eyes and I can just see it all replaying over and over and over again. It's partly why I have been diagnosed with PTSD, because of the countless times I've been manipulated, I've been beat down emotionally and verbally. You know, it's one thing when the person that you're with is saying these things and doing these things to you, but it's another when your own flesh and blood starts seeing what's being said and then reenacts it. It's almost like a dagger going in deep into your skin and then it being twisted endlessly until whoever's turning that feels satisfied that the job's been done. There's nights where I have dreams and nightmares of just constantly being lied to. There's dreams where I'm getting beat up physically by people that I've known, that I thought were family, that I thought were friends. And sadly, sometimes it's even my own flesh and blood that's doing the beating. I don't know about you, but there's these moments that happen and you don't know where to start. You don't know where to go when you wake up. Your body feels so drained. Your mind feels so out of touch of reality when you first wake up that you just think that what you just saw in your dreams and your nightmares is real, that it's still going on as you open your eyes. And it takes you a little bit to realize that the dream is over, but you still have that pain and that hurt in your stomach as if it's still going on. It reminds you of everything that you've been through. It reminds you of all the hurt and the pain that you endured during these unfortunate relationships. You may be listening to this right now and you may be going, yes, I understand. Yes, I've been through that. Yes, I know that type of pain. I know that feeling. But the question remains is, where do you go from there? Are you the type of person that just continues to dwell in that hurt and in that pain? And you beat yourself up so bad that you start to do drugs, you start to drink. You go down that road that has been forewarned to you many, many times by the people that cared, but in your eyes were just trying to control you. You see, that's the problem. In the midst of our pain, when people are trying to help, when people are trying to stand by your side, you're looking at it from a different point of view. Your mind is so screwed up from all the things that have been said and done and all the dreams that you've been going through that you think that everybody is out to get you. You start to close the blinds. You start to think that people are watching you. You think that everybody is out there to try to attack you and to try to break you. But in reality, everybody's living their own life. And that's not what's really going on. The thing you have to remember is, in these times when you're feeling weak and when you're suffering and when you're feeling like your world is collapsing right before your eyes and you're feeling trapped, you're feeling claustrophobic, that it was just a dream. It was just in the past. And yes, it hurt. Yes, that dagger that went through your body and twisted over and over again, that scar still remains, but your integrity is still there. You can drown out all those things that are trying to restrain you from moving forward, because these people that have tried so hard to bring you down, they think they've won. They think they've conquered you. But let me tell you right now, if you're listening and you're feeling down and you've got anxiety and you've got depression, this is not the end for you. This is not how you should live your life. Because while you're sitting and moping and being depressed and being the victim in your eyes and trying to create more excuses as to why you can't move forward, you could. Because you could go seek help. You could talk to a therapist. You could go to a pastor. You could go to a support group. You can do so many different things that can help you move forward. You can get on medication to help you think straight, to make those nightmares and those fears not go away, but you realize just how petty, how small they really are, and just how big and strong you can be to smash them to the ground and twist it like you stepped on a bug and say, I will no longer let that control my destiny, my future, the everything that I can be. I refuse to be that person that continues to let these people rule over my heart and my soul. Because you are the only person who can create your destiny. I've said this many, many times. You are in control of your own life. You are the one who can decide where you can go from here, starting today, right now. Because I was in all that. I still deal with that every single day. But the difference is, compared to 4 years ago, I have the help that I need. I have people surrounding me that care, that are willing to stand by my side and say, Kent, you're okay. You're not that way. You are a good person. You aren't a deadbeat. You are a good father. You are a good man of faith. And it's all because of the stepping stones that I had to cross, because it didn't just come in a snap of a finger. It took hard work. It took me going to therapy. It took me getting on better medication. It took me going to church and Bible studies, support groups. It took every ounce of my being to fix myself, to rebuild myself. A prime example of what I went through, it's like when a tornado goes through a city, or it's like a hurricane that comes through onto the coast. There's devastation. There's destruction. There's homes that have been destroyed. But is that the end? No. There is new beginnings. There is a time to rebuild. But as they rebuild, they make sure that this time it is built on stronger ground. And that's what I had to do with my life. I had to build my life on better ground. Because the life I was living back then, I was a mess going into it. I wasn't a good person going into it. But now I am. And I've talked about this before. It has taken me 36 years of my life to listen to the advice that people tried so hard to engrave in my mind. And for so long, I refused to listen. But now I do listen. Now I see the importance of doing things the right way, having faith, believing in yourself. And when people try to knock you down, like those tornadoes or hurricanes or floods, the devastation may be too hard to look at and may seem impossible to rebuild, but it can be done. And at the end of the day, at the end of your life, after all the hard work you put in to change, to rebuild your life, you could say, I did it without drugs. I did it without alcohol. I did it without thinking low of myself, playing the pity-patty game, playing the victim. I did without that. I owned up for what I've done. I've owned up for the mistakes I've made. I've rekindled old friendships that were broken. And now I have nothing left to fear. I have nothing left to worry about. Your future is all based on how you react to it. It's all how you learn from the life lessons that come your way. Now, you can listen to this and go, you know what? I'm going to do what I want to do. And there's no changing it. I'm going to live my life because it's worked for this long, and there's no point in changing it now. Really? You really believe that? You really believe that there's no chance that things can change, that there's no light at the end of that dark tunnel that you've lived for so many years of your life, after being made fun of, after being bullied, after being ridiculed, after being beaten down to your knees time and time again, people spitting on your face. You think that you can't get up from that? You can. Look at yourself in the mirror. Go up to a mirror right now and look at yourself and say, I am better than this. I can accomplish anything I set my mind to. Why? Because I can. And I refuse to let other people tell me differently. Because I've had it in my life where there's been people who have said, you will not accomplish to anything, that you are a failure. You might as well just give up. You may as well just jump in the ocean and let yourself sink to the bottom, because no one will care. No one will miss you. I've been told you might as well go back to Montana because no one wants you here. I've told that all my dreams and aspirations to be on the radio one day was just a bunch of hoopla, that it was a pointless dream. Well, let me tell you something. For 4 years, this podcast has been successful. It has opened the eyes of people who have been through very similar things as me. And it has encouraged people that have been through addictions to come clean. It has caused people who haven't seen the light of Christ, and now they believe and they are going to church. There's people who have listened to this podcast who had low self-esteem and now believe that they can do anything they set their minds to. Why? Because of this podcast and the people that share their life experiences, that aren't afraid to say that, yes, I'm not perfect. Here's my life story. So other people who struggle can realize that they aren't alone. Because this is the cold, hard truth right here, right now. I thought for a very long time that I was alone, that no one cares, that no one would understand. And trust me, it was hard and it seemed like that. But in reality, knock, knock, who's there? It's reality. People did care. People were willing to reach out and help me when I thought nobody would. And yes, the number of those people were few, but it doesn't matter how many. It doesn't matter how many were there to lift me up and to back me up. The fact is that there were people there. There were people there that were willing to take that time to be that person, that were willing to make a difference. Not tomorrow, not sometime next week after their doctor's appointment, but today. And it made a world of difference because they wanted to be that person. They realized that when people are left in the dark, they end up shriveling, believing in their own pain and their own thoughts that have been built into their mind for them to believe, because that's what other people wanted to see. But they chose not to. They chose to be the big person in this story of life. They chose to make a difference when other people chose not to. They chose not to take sides. They chose to be good people, to treat others as they would want to be treated. They chose to show their heart and wear it on their sleeve so other people could see it, and they proudly showed it, regardless of what was thrown back at them, regardless of all the criticism of what they did. They did it because they cared. And if you took the time to think positive, to do what you can, not what you can't, you could see that there are people who believe in you. Don't you think it's time that you believe in yourself too? The journey of life is never easy. The things that people say, the things that people do to your mind can often be more damaging than anything anybody could ever say. Sometimes it feels like you're literally being punched in the gut so many times that you feel like there is no way that you can breathe the air that you can breathe. It's unfortunate that people think that that is the answer to everything, is to just make people feel smaller just because they want to feel big. It's sad that there's people out in this world that feel like violence is the answer to everything. It's sad that there are people out there who live thinking that being manipulative and lying just to get self-benefit out of things is the answer. Am I frustrated by this? Absolutely. Why? Because there's people out there that are being hurt. There's people out there that are living in a world where they feel like there's so much darkness and emptiness that there's no way out. And it goes much farther than depression. It becomes that they start losing their jobs because they can't focus. They lose their houses, so they live out on the streets. And these poor people who have no one there to back them up because they're scared, because they feel hopeless, because they don't have the confidence, because they've been told so much in their life about themselves to bring them down that they feel that there's nothing left for them to give. I guarantee you, if you went to any of these people that are homeless and you encouraged them and you showed them compassion and love and you told them that you believe in them, their whole persona would change in a heartbeat, because no one's been there to tell them otherwise. So what can we gain from this? What can we do better to change this situation where people every single day are being mistreated? People's minds are being filled with endless and pointless junk just because others want to be hurtful and mean and bully their way just to get what they want. Trust me, I've said it many times, I'm not perfect. I've said and done things in my life that I'm not proud of, but I've owned up to what I've done. I've dealt with the consequences of my actions. And sometimes the consequences never go away. They're endless. Sometimes these dreams, these nightmares are going to get worse some nights than others. But as long as I get up and I prove those dreams, those doubts that are engraved into my mind wrong, I'm doing and taking the right steps to success. So think about that. So thank you for listening to this podcast. I know it was intense, but I just felt like I had to talk about this subject today. I know there was no commercials or anything like that, but you didn't get off that easy. We're going to do one here before we go, and we're going to wrap things up right here on the Kent Holste podcast. Hey everyone, I just want to take this time to thank you for tuning in to today's show. Without your support and watching these videos, this podcast wouldn't be where it's at today. And the same goes for the website as well, and the YouTube channel. So to help me out even more, if you haven't done so yet, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified when a new, amazing content comes out. Also, don't forget to check out all the other social media sites as well, and like, share, and comment, and subscribe there too. It all is being a part of this community where we can come together and show that we care for one another, so we can motivate and encourage others. So thanks again for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the show. You know, I've been through a lot in my life. I've been through a lot of hate. I've been through a lot of bullying. I've been through situations that would just make your stomach turn. And some of it was caused by the aftermath of my own actions. But a lot of it was done because people just wanted to cause harm, to cause destruction, to cause so much hurt and pain so they could prove a point for themselves, so they could get something out of it that if those things weren't done, they would have had a harder time getting what they wanted. We see that a lot because people want to manipulate. People create so much hurt and pain that they create all these scenarios where the other person just ends up falling into the trap. And then the next thing you know, their whole world is being tumbled on top of them because everything that they were forced into thinking and feeling was used against them. And unfortunately, that's happened more than once in my life. And the sad thing is that sometimes people can move forward from it. But for others, they like to hold that over your head. And just a word of advice in that case, if that happens, those are the people you want to steer clear from. The only thing you can do is forgive them for thinking and feeling that way. You may not be able to say that, but as long as you know that in your heart, that you can learn to forgive people for the things that they've done, because there's nothing you can do to change people. If people are going to be rude and mean and selfish and greedy and lie and manipulate the system all because that's who they want to be, then that's on them. You can't change people unless they want to change themselves. And trust me, for a long time, I didn't want to be changed. I didn't want people to help me. But that was the biggest mistake of my life because I didn't see the truth. Don't waste time. Life goes by way too fast. One moment, you're a kid just having no care in the world. And the next thing you know, you've got kids, you got a family, and you have a life to live and to support. There is no time to mess around. There are going to be people who want to tear down your walls and your bridges. They want to be destructive because that's how they were raised. Learning that when they can lie and manipulate and to cheat and to steal, they can get what they want. So let them find out the hard way that will come back and hurt them later on in life, because the aftershocks of what they do are going to hurt them, because later on they will realize what they did was wrong, and they're the ones who have to live with that guilt. And that to me is far worse than any punishment that I've had to go through in my life. And God have mercy on these people who think that it's okay to treat people and to hurt people and to take away their life, all because they want to destroy it out of personal gain. It's sad. But the only thing we can do is to forgive them, to ask God to help them, and maybe one day they can change. God, I hope they will change, because this world isn't going to get better. It's not going to change until these people wake up and realize that the way that they're acting is the reason why this world is crazy and messed up. We need to own up to what we've done. We need to own up and see that the things that we've done, they weren't worth it. They never will be worth it. All for what? 2 seconds of satisfaction? Oh, well, I felt good for this many years. Well, yeah, but you've had to deal with all that guilt, because at some point you may have felt like, you know what, did I go too far? You've had to ask that. And if you haven't asked that, then there's something definitely wrong. This world is getting out of control. And in my mind, I'm like, God, I know that at some point you're coming back. I'm hoping it's not until after I'm gone, but man, if it's anytime soon, man, it would be great, because I'm so tired of all this hurt that people are going through in this world. I'm tired of people being sick. I'm tired of people getting spat on, stomped on, used and abused, cheated on, taken for granted, people using other people just getting in relationships so they can get personal gain out of something, and then when they get what they want, they disappear and act like nothing even happened. There's sick people in this world, and we all need help to change it, because we're all playing a part in it. Not one of us is not guilty. So what are we going to do to change it? Let's think about that. So as always, please, in the comment spot, be respectful. If you're going to bash me or anybody else in the comments, don't be surprised if you get blocked, because it's not needed. This is a time to be positive and encouraging. And yes, it's hard to forgive people who hurt you, but I have. Even though it's been hard, I forgive people. And it all comes to what my parents told me all the time. You got to forgive and forget, and to just move forward. And that's what I plan on doing for the rest of my life. You can hurt me. You can try to bring me to my knees. But at the end of the day, no matter how bad I'm bleeding, no matter how bad I'm hurting, I will still forgive you. But God have mercy on your soul for the guilt that you will have for doing those actions. Because no one deserves to be treated poorly, disrespectfully, and that's it. That's it. That's all I got to say. So thank you for listening to today's podcast. Share your thoughts on what we can do better in our lives to not hurt people. How can we change all this? I mean, I talked about a lot of stuff. I mean, have you been in these situations where you have nightmares and you have PTSD from people that have hurt you and have done harm to you? What did you do to overcome it? And how are you being a better person because of it today? Maybe it was you that hit that self-destruct button and you did it to yourself. How did you fix it? How did that make you a better person today? Let's talk about it. Let's be a stronger, better community. And let's care for each other. Let's stop hurting people. Let's stop having these nightmares in all these situations where we have to take medication. Could you imagine a world where no one was depressed, no one was hurting, no one was sad, no one went through hard times, breakups, losses of jobs, people, who have lost people from sickness? What if we all just lived a life where we all lived until we got old and it was just our time to go? Could you imagine how nice that would be? Not having any fear, anxiety. Dang, it would be nice. But you know what? This is the life we live. We can try to make it that way. We can try to be happy. We can try to be positive. But are people doing it? No, so let's change it. All right? So think and be positive. Do what you can today to better your life, to overcome the demons that are inside of you. The demons that tell you you're not good enough, throw it out the door and tell them to get the heck out, because this is your time. So do that today. I believe in you. Don't you think you should too? Do what you can, not what you can't. That's the biggest thing right there. Do it. Live it. Believe it. Look at yourself in the mirror. Put Post-its all over your house that say, think positive. Put Post-it notes in your house that say, yes, I can. And see the change that you can do. Do that today. And if you see someone who served our country, whether it be military, police, fire, or even the hardworking people in our hospitals, give them an elbow, give them a fist bump, tell them how much you appreciate them. You never know how much that might make an impact in their life so big that that feeling of love and care and respect is going to grow and it's going to be passed on to another person. How cool would that be? All has to do with kindness, so let's do that today. And for those of you who like this video, who like this topic on this Kent Holste podcast, make sure you like, share, comment, but also subscribe. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then also ring that bell so you can be notified of new topics that get posted, or even other things that we got going on here on the Kent Holste podcast, like unboxings. We just did a cool unboxing of pro wrestling loot. Gotta check out that video. We also have other wrestling stories, which I haven't done in a while. But we have other things on the Kent Holste podcast.com website, like Circle of Friends. Join the community. See what prayer requests are there so you can pray for other people who need it. Be a part of this community, because I tell you, the Kent Holste podcast community is the one you want to be with, because we're impacting lives and we're changing lives today, not tomorrow. We're all coming together and we're doing it right now, because waiting does nothing, but taking action and taking initiative is what's making the difference. So let's do this together. Let's make a commitment right now that we're going to be a family, because you're not just my friends, you're my family, right? And we're going to stand strong and we're going to tell people to join our mission, to build people up, to encourage other people, to let them know that they are not alone in their battle with depression, anxiety, fear, all that stuff. We are here and we care for you. We don't have to know you. We don't have to know everything in your life from the beginning of your time to right now. We just flat out care. I care. You can always send me an email at kentholstepodcast@gmail.com, and I will respond to you as fast as I can, and we can talk. We can form a friendship. If you're in this area, I'll even have coffee with you, and we can just talk. I'll be your friend. So do that. All right? Have a great one. Be safe, but most importantly, God bless.